Hello dears, today's class is about urinary tract infection. So the urinary tract mainly consists of kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Prostate in males also. So the infection in any part of the urinary tract that includes the kidney, bladder, urethra or prostate in males is called urinary tract infections or UTIs. So the significant bacteriuria means presence of bacteria in the urine. It is traditionally been defined as bacterial counts of greater than 1 lakh per ml of the urine. That is, if 1 ml of urine contains greater than 1 lakh colony forming unit of bacteria, it is called the bacteriuria or significant bacteriuria. That indicates urinary tract infection. What are the risk factors? Generally, the female is more riskier towards developing urinary tract infection. That is due to so many factors that we will discuss later. So, the mainly increasing age in general and gender that I told you, female, pregnancy, hormonal influences. Hormonal influences is mainly the lower level of estrogen promotes the growth of bacteria. Okay, and prostatic obstruction or benign prostatic hypertrophy that is usually seen in middle-aged or after or old age males. Diabetes means that why the diabetes is mainly make an individual riskier towards developing UTI is that in diabetes there is an increased concentration of sugar or glucose. So this sugar will promote the growth of bacteria in the urinary tract. Okay, and also the catheterization when a patient is bedridden or is admitted in hospital due to any reason, then he will be catheterized in particular situation. That is, the catheter will be inserted into the urinary tract for collecting the urine, and also that promotes the urinary tract infection. That is the colonization of the bacteria in the catheter. Okay, and spinal cord dysfunction that makes an individual to be in bed for a long period of time. Healthcare associated UTI, how it is, these HAUTIs are the important cause of UTIs in persons who are undergoing any operations or procedures in the urinary tract. Structurally and functionally abnormal urinary tract, that means if there is an obstruction like tumors or calculi means stones or anything like BPH is there, then that promotes the growth of bacteria in the urinary tract. Also it contains urinary reflex like that. So the causative organisms are mainly of gram-negative bacteria, in that the Escherichia coli or the E. coli, which is commonly found in the human, is the main causative organism in producing the UTI. That accounts for 90% of the UTIs. Enterobacter, Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, Proteus, Neisseria gonorrhea are all other gram-negative bacteria which commonly cause the UTI. Another thing is gram-positive bacteria, that is mainly example Staphylococcus aureus and Enterococcus species. Other bacteria are Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and some fungi like Candida albicans also produce infection in persons, those who have low immunity, that is immunocompromised or immunosuppressed persons. Some virus also like adenovirus produces infection, urinary tract infection, and also some parasites also produces urinary tract infection. Okay, and urinary tract infections are classified into upper UTIs and lower UTIs based on the part of the urinary tract where the infection is present. Upper UTI mainly consists of two portions, that is pyelonephritis and ureteritis. Pyelonephritis is that the infection which involves the kidneys, both kidneys. Ureteritis means the infection involving the ureters. Lower UTI consists of mainly three types, that is cystitis. In cystitis is the infection in the bladder, urinary bladder. Urethritis is the infection in the urethra, and prostatitis in the males. Okay. Upper UTI is also called the pyelonephritis. Like pyelonephritis is the main type of upper UTI. Pyelonephritis involves the both kidneys, infection in the both kidneys that can be acute or chronic. Acute infection usually consists of the suppurative inflammation, that is, it forms the pus. Okay, so what is the morphology of pyelonephritis, or how the kidneys looks like during in a pyelonephritis patient, is that the kidneys will be enlarged and swollen with yellowish white pus with hemorrhagic rim. Hemorrhagic rim means a bloodish rim. Okay, and ureteritis is the infection of the ureter, and it does not occur always primarily, that is, it always occurs the secondary to pyelonephritis or cystitis. That is, if there is an infection in the kidneys or if there is an infection in the bladder, then only the ureteritis will happen. Okay, that is the secondary, that is the meaning of secondary. So it is often mild, but no long-standing infection in the ureter that can cause the chronic ureteritis. Okay, and lower UTIs mainly cystitis. Cystitis is the most common site of infection in the urinary tract, and primary cystitis are often rare. That is, the infection can be spread from the upper urinary tract, that is from the kidneys, or from the lower urinary tract, that is from the urethra. So, the infections with the Candida albicans occur in the immunosuppressed patients. Okay, that is, the cystitis occur with Candida albicans or due to Candida albicans, that is a fungus, in immunosuppressed patients or those who are having lower immunity, like HIV patients or kidney transplant or liver transplant, that is organ transplant patients, like that. It is more common in females due to shorter urethra. Shorter urethra mainly causes or leads to fecal contamination of the urethra, and mechanical trauma is also there. Like mechanical trauma means due to sexual intercourse, that also produces the cystitis in females. In males, prostatic obstruction mainly is the reason for cystitis. Urethritis is infection of urethra, and that may be due to two causes: gonococcal or non-gonococcal. Gonococcal is like sexually transmitted diseases, that is the gonorrhea, that we'll discuss in the following classes. Like Neisseria gonorrhea is a cocci, is a gram-negative bacteria, mainly bacilli, that causes the gonorrhea in females or males. So that is the main reasons for causing the urethritis, that is the gonococcal urethritis. That is the sexually transmitted disease. Okay, sexually transmitted the causative organism for sexually transmitted diseases Neisseria gonorrhea, and these Neisseria gonorrhea can cause urethritis. Acute suppurative inflammation will be there, and fibrosis and scarring will be there in the urethra, that causes the urethral stricture. Urethral stricture means the constriction of the urethra. Okay. Non-gonococcal urethritis is mainly due to the E. coli, that is very common in females, and it is usually accompanied by cystitis in females and prostatitis in the males. So the general pathogenesis is the organism can gain entry into the urinary tract through two modes or two routes. One is the ascending route, that is from the below to above, and one is the hematogenous route, that is the blood-borne spread, that is rare. So ascending route is the most common route where the bacteria gain entry from the urethra towards the kidneys. Okay, so it travels towards the kidneys. So that is especially occurring in the females because of the risk factors. Risk factors means due to shorter urethra in females, and due to hormonal influence, that is lower estrogen levels, and due to sexual intercourse or the urethral trauma that occur during the sexual intercourse, like that. So there is a fecal contamination of the urethral orifice because the anus and the urethra is very near or proximal in the females. So that causes the fecal contamination of the urethral orifice. So that mainly causes the entry of bacteria into urinary tract and cause a infection. In hematogenous route, it is actually a rare route of infection where there is a blood-borne spread of infection is there. This is mainly caused by the obstruction in the urinary tract, or it occur mainly in the immunosuppressed patient where the bacteria gain entry from a very near focus of infection. That is, if there is a tuberculosis, for example, if the patient is having a tuberculosis in the kidneys, that is renal tuberculosis, then the bacteria can gain entry or cause infection in the urinary tract. Okay, that is the main that is the lesser route of, that is the less often, or it is the rare route of infection. So ascending route is the most common route. Yeah, so the bacteria from the rectum, actually we have a lot of inhabitants in the bacterial inhabitants in our colon, that is intestine, right? Lactobacillus or E. coli, etc. These bacteria from the rectum, okay, or from the anus, that gain entry, that travel up to the urethra, and that causes the urethral infection, and then it ascends towards the gallbladder, the urinary bladder, and it causes the infection there, that is the cystitis there. Okay, but we have a lot of host defense mechanisms. Okay, that is the mechanisms which makes an individual resistant towards developing urinary tract infection, that we'll discuss here. So this is the diagrammatic representation of hematogenous infection and ascending infection. Hope you can clearly understand from this picture. Okay, so ascending infection is from the urethra upwards. Urethra, urinary bladder, ureter and kidneys. Hematogenous infection will be from the kidneys, then ureter, urinary bladder and urethra downwards. Okay, yes. So what are the host defense mechanism? As I already told you, so urine under normal circumstances is very much capable of killing and inhibiting the microbes. That's why we don't get often UTIs. Yeah. So the factors which are responsible for the host defense mechanisms are low pH, that does not promote or it inhibit the growth of microbes in the urinary tract, the low pH. Okay, and extremes in the osmolality, high urea concentration, high organic acid concentration, and the prostatic secretions in the male, these are all having inhibiting property, or these are all have inhibit the microbial growth in healthy persons. Okay, so some of the host defense mechanisms which are very much important is that usually our bladder is coated with epithelial cells, right? So these epithelial cells will be coated with mucus, that is called the glycosaminoglycan. What is that? Glycosaminoglycan. So these glycosaminoglycans will prevent the attachment of bacterial fibrae, that is the bacteria does not adhere to the epithelial cells due to the sticky nature of the mucus. Okay, so that is the main thing. And also the TAM horse protein is there. It is secreted by the loop of Henle and the distal convoluted tubule of the kidneys. So these TAM Horsfall protein is secreted into the urine, and that contains the so many mannose residue. Actually, this glycosaminoglycan is also contains so many mannose residues. Okay, so these mannose residue will bind to the fimbriae of the bacteria. What is fimbriae? Fimbriae is the appendages for the movement and attachment of the bacteria to the host cell. Okay, that is the fimbriae helps the bacteria to attach to a surface. Okay, so these mannose residue will bind to the fimbriae of the bacteria, and thus it traps the bacteria, and thus it prevents attachment to the mucosal surface of the bladder. Okay, and thus it is flushed out during the urine passage or micturition. So these are the main important host defense mechanism which makes an individual resistant towards developing the UTIs. And in females, mainly in the premenopausal women, there will be ample amount of estrogen in her blood, right? So the estrogen will promote the lactobacilli growth in the vagina. So what will happen is that the lactobacilli will produce lactic acid, and this lactic acid keeps the vaginal pH low or acidic. Okay, so that prevents the E. coli colonization in the vagina. Got it? But some spermicidal use or beta-lactam antibiotic use or intercourse with the new partner, low estrogen level or douching will cause all these steps to inhibit. Okay, so these will block the lactic acid secretion, or it inhibit the lactobacilli growth in the vagina. So that makes the individual more prone to develop UTIs. So what are the bacterial virulence factor? Bacteria also have some virulence factor to cause the infections. Like virulence is the capacity of an bacteria to cause the infection. So E. coli generally have type 1 fimbriae which have rigid hair-like appendages that can easily attaches to the epithelial cell wall of the the urinary bladder. Okay, but what will happen is that it binds to the mannose receptor in the glycoprotein. As I told you, the glycosaminoglycan and also the tam host wall protein contains so many mannose receptors. These mannose receptor will trap the fimbriae of the E. coli by binding with the fimbriae. And what will happen is that these trapping that causes the bacteria to flush out through the urine, and it prevents binding to the epithelial cell wall and causing the infection. So though the bacteria have virulence factors like fimbriae or pili and all, but the mannose receptors in the tam host wall protein and in the glycosaminoglycan that cause the resistance to it or fight against the fimbriae or the E. coli. Okay, what are the clinical features of UTI? Usually, as I told you that there is upper UTI and lower UTI, right? So upper UTI have a set of symptoms that consist of the flank pain. Flank pain means the pain in the back. Okay, so lumbar tenderness will be there. Lumbar region, that is when we touch in the lumbar region, we will feel a pain. That is the lumbar tenderness. Frequency of urination will be there. That is in between we can like the patient will feel to urinate. Okay, dysuria means difficulty in urination, that is the burning and painful feeling while urinating, and also the patients will feel an incompletion during urinating. Okay, fever and chills will be there, that is the systemic effects, that is the bacteria gain entry into the blood and that causes the fever and chills. Nausea and vomiting will be there. Okay, and in lower UTI, the three important feature is that urgency, frequency and dysuria. Urgency is patients have urge to pass the urine. Frequency will be there, dysuria will be there, and also in nocturia will be there, that is the urgency to pass the urine through during night or during sleep. Hematuria, sometimes the bloody tinge will be present in the urine. Suprapubic heaviness, in the pubic area there will be a heaviness and pain, especially in the females. Okay, and lower abdominal pain and fever, chills, malaise and all will be there in the lower UTI. Okay, yes. So laboratory investigations means what we can find out from the urine routine and urine culture. Urine routine will help us to find there is an turbid or cloudy appearance in the urine. Pus will be high. Usually 1 to 2 pus is normal, but more than 5 or more than 10, that indicates a mild to moderate infection. Okay, and greater than 30 pus per HPF, that indicates a moderate or severe infection. Epithelial cells will be present, will be high, more than normal. Leukocytes will be greater than 10 cells per HPF. RBC will be present sometimes. Bacteria will be present in the bacterial infections. Okay, so urine culture will reveal more than 1 lakh colony forming unit of the bacteria. So these are the laboratory investigations in the UTI. So these are the things. I am not going into treatment. So hope you all understood the topic. So thank you so much.